social things. So, right, you know, it's not about like, yeah, start with yourself. He started with himself, and he's sure he's still on himself. And this is him being on himself. You know, he's learning. He's very educated. And he's pretty just, you know, just because he blows off steam. I think that's part of the game of Clubhouse. But he does have a lot of white hate. But I think it's a show he puts on. He's a frustrated member of civilization. Like many, many others.
Good evening, good evening.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey. Hamas should surrender. Yes, they should.
Yeah, it's about time. It was about time before it even started.
You know what I love is how badass the IDF are when they announce that they've killed someone who is high ranking and they're like eliminated. Eliminated.
Wait, what are you referring to?
So when they showcase who they killed and they write across it, they announce it and they announce it as somebody was eliminated.
Yeah, right.
Great.
You know, those who are kind to the evil are evil to the kind. The kindness is stopping evil. If the evil doesn't want to stop through dialogue, what can you do?
Yep.
Sacrifice yourself. And then the evil cries to the women of the West. This is the strategy of the sacrificing themselves and crying to the ignorance of the rest of the world. We just need, you know, just a few pieces of information to understand. So sad. So much suffering. Imagine if they just let the Jews die with the red carpet and develop their region. How much more developed would the Middle East, would the world be now? We might have been twice as technical. We might have been in 2030, 2040, 2050 now. Who's going to answer for that? Who's going to answer for that? Who's going to answer for that?
God is aware of what's happening and what's in your hearts and what's going on to expand that. What you people wish on the Palestinian, I wish that happens to you. Bye. Yo, man. Exactly. And also, we don't wish anything happens to the Palestinians. We wish Hamas to surrender and to release the hostages.
Who's going to answer for this? Which student in class is going to answer for this? Incorrigible, unforgivable.
Oh, that's brilliant. marriages, man. While I'm on the stage, excuse the rant, but you know these lefty Westerners, their whole moral framework and structure, everything that they hold dear about how they think about justice is actually rooted in Judaism, but they're arguing for a very barbaric kind of stone age caveman way of life. It's really odd that they're using the moral standards that the religion of Judaism brought to the world and created modern respectful civilization, especially after the Roman Empire adopted Christianity, which is a spin-off of Judaism. I mean, it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
It's insane.
You know what I think is weird about the whole thing? I don't know if you guys have considered this before. But if they're getting genocided, if they're starving to death, why wouldn't they just release the 40 or 30 living people and the 20 dead bodies that they're holding on to and be like, all right, we're done?
Because they're morally grandstanding.
Well, they're not starving.
They think they're.
Oh, so
they
they're
think
not
they're
actually starving? Is that what you're saying? They're not actually
No,
starving?
they're not actually. And
they're not. And they're not being genocided either.
No.
So that's why they feel like they're actually doing something cool. They're like,
they think they're the good guys. That's insane, bro. They must all be looking left and right, thinking, "Holy shit, where am I? What can I do? Nothing."
Yeah, but we asked resistance to pull up a video or any evidence.
Because they can't say anything. They can't say anything.
No, it took 20 minutes to find a woman being pushed, a man or a woman being pushed in a wheelchair, but everybody that was pushing them and surrounding them, they were fat.
I saw a new video today of a fat man complaining to the trucks for cheating from far away and he had to move.
Oh my god.
He's a big fatty. I can put it in the chat. I'll put the link in the chat.
And this is history. This is the identities. The first person to tell me that the Arabs have done nothing in history was an Arab himself from Syria, college. He said everything was Persians. Persians did everything in that time of history. Arabs, Turks didn't do so much, did they? But there's greatness and genius and, beauty and everything and everybody. And they should seek to...
I put the link in the chat of the fat guy complaining about having to walk the far distance.
Pepe earlier said it, that if I died and Issa died, that, no one would notice, no one would care, everything would just continue going. See, I think that type of attitude, is reflective of somebody who has is despondent and in despair or not courageous. So, part of my art project, I like Clown House in the sense that I've created this third party network of YouTube videos of all these people on this app. because in a way, you are not you. You are everyone you interact with and communicate with. So to me, I've like mirrored all my activity on this app. So I'm not me. I am you in a way.
All communication is projection. So if somebody says you're gonna die alone, that means they're afraid that they're gonna die alone. If somebody says you're a piece of shit, that means that they're afraid that they're a piece of shit. If somebody says you're ugly, that means they're afraid that they're ugly. If they see what a bald, shiny bald head, they're afraid of the day that they themselves will once be bald. And that's as simple as that.
Yeah.
So what, did Pepe lose his mind at you and Issa? Did he go crazy or what happened?
No, I was just kind of making fun of Pepe and then talking about, my YouTube accounts and Instagram accounts. But yeah, I'm like I'm getting very close, I think, to ending my recording project on this app. I'm
How long have you been doing it?
since 2020, so 5 years.
Wow. I'm a little paranoid that I might be caught out on that because obviously I live in the UK and we have no free speech. But whatever.
No,
Somebody would have to go digging.
no one's gonna dig through 60,000 videos.
Is it 60,000?
I think if you add up all the YouTubes and all the Instagram accounts, it's somewhere close to like, probably 40,000 videos.
Yeah, I just used AI to sort through them and get all the incriminating stuff on the people I don't like on this app.
AI is pretty amazing. I've been asking Grok to do a comparative analysis on voting record and open secrets lobbying records, and it's amazing. But it can like cross compare, whatever is in Google and do like a comparative analysis and do matching. So it's like really a huge. And what's amazing about X is because you can integrate it into your profile, it's like immediate deployment of content and propaganda or counter argument information. So it's amazing how by having it in the platform and how you can tag people, like X is really a different type of platform compared to Facebook or Instagram. It's like it's more it's faster and more easily accessible as opposed to other platforms. X is very dynamic now. I mean, it's I think valued at
Do you
150
make
million.
it talk to you in Ebonics?
No, I don't do that. I can come to Clown House to listen to Ebonics.
That's a possibility.
I can come to Clown House and listen to Ebonics any day of the week, any hour of the week. This is a Ebonic colonic. This app is an Ebonic colonic. But what I'd like to do is get back to reading books, because if I just read the Tanya for a couple minutes, I realize how much time I'm wasting here and listening to all these conversations. So I really do want to like stop the recordings and get back to like recording books so I can, thrive and prosper and survive, because just listening to people have random conversations, it's not programmatic, it's not intelligent, and I think it creates brain rot. So I would, as a warning, I would encourage everyone here to spend like maybe 10 minutes reading a book on this app, as opposed to spending countless hours having random meaningless, and when I say meaningless, I mean that like the conversations are one word at a time. It's not like sitting in a classroom and getting a lecture and a direct transmission of information. You are not doing information like downloading. You're like nothing is happening here. I mean, and I think that's why, to me, it makes interesting content to film, but nonetheless, I know that it's not a good usage of my time. That's all I'm saying. Or I've maxed out the recordings.
The one thing that I have gotten better at not getting triggered when people say stupid shit. The other day, I was with somebody, I won't elaborate, it was somebody who I don't know very well. They said something incredibly stupid, I won't elaborate, it doesn't really matter. but they said something that was very stupid. And in the past, I would have definitely wanted to tell them that was the dumbest shit I've ever heard, and here's why you're a fucking moron. And I didn't say anything. I just said, oh, interesting. Uh-huh. And that was it. And I was actually proud of myself because walking away from that interaction, I thought, yeah, I didn't need to respond to that. That was stupid. If I had responded, I would have taken the bait, and then I would have been the stupid one. I would have become a self-roaster. And so I just kind of said, oh, that's interesting. And I don't think that I would have had that muscle. I didn't have the emotional capacity to do that. 5 or 10 years ago, I definitely didn't. I wasn't strong enough to do that.
Hey, Zach.
What's up, you fucking faggot? Sorry.
Crazy.
I'm sorry. I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
It's okay. I just want to contribute though, because oh my god, I'm still laughing from that, Zach. But anyway, I just want to contribute because I've heard some I guess unfortunate things during this room here. So I think that what's going on both sides of this conflict is very unfortunate. I'm honestly not sure if the claims of the Gazans being starved is true or not, but I think it's hard to deny that people, like, not even on just like one side, like I'm not even just saying like the Palestinians are starving or the Israelis are starved or like trying to be like one side here. I'm just trying to say I think both sides here are suffering, and I think it's not harmful to your personal narrative or whatever. If people just acknowledge, that I think that it could be true at the same time that what Hamas is doing by not returning their hostages is harming their people. Wait, can you hear me? I have a red bar. Anyway,
I can hear
I
you,
just
but
want
I
to say,
haven't.
well, I think it could also, I think it's also can also be true. Israel could be suffering from scope creep because even people in government haven't saying like, hey, we've been going too far. Like, this is only just prolonging the suffering for both of us. Like there's generals, journalists, politicians who've been noticing this too, and you hear someone complaining. I think
So the people in Gaza, if they are starving, it's because Hamas steals the aid, puts it in warehouses, or puts it directly in tunnels, which Palestinians in Gaza have been saying on camera that the aid is disappearing underground. So there's more than enough food in Gaza. It's just not being brought to the people because Hamas wants the entire world to blame Israel for starvation when they actually do it themselves. This is Islam. Islam wants to take as many people down with them when they do suicides. When they kill themselves, they want to take as many people as possible with them. If if it's possible to blame the West, blame Christians, blame the Jews, they will go for it. Because Muslims say themselves their biggest weapon is unlike Christians and Jews because we prioritize life. Muslims say that they prioritize paradise, that this life is not worth living for, and that they will be rewarded in the afterlife if they die a martyr for Allah. So I'm not falling for that. I know a lot of Catholics fall for that, but I'm not falling for that. And I notice this trend with a lot of Christians as well, following for the propaganda of Hamas, and that's very concerning because Hamas is
I'm not falling for any Hamas propaganda.
No, not you personally, but collectively,
Okay.
the Catholic Church has been not supporting the Jewish people as much as they should. Like back in the day, Catholics used to fight crusades against Islam. Now they are
They
enabling
do.
it. The thing is, Catholics hate Israel. They hate Israel.
Well, that's cool, but I also just want to call out Julian.
That's not true.
Hey, Julian, I just want to call you out and say you support murder, and you may have a cognitive distortion disorder. Are you serious? You love Mangione, boy. You support Mangione for murdering that healthcare executive, the CEO at United
You
Healthcare.
like Mangione, Julian? Is this true, Julian?
That's a different subject.
That's very stupid, Julian. I heard somebody the other day said we need the Luigi mindset when it comes to Gaza. What do you think that means, Dr. Julian? What do you think the Luigi mindset when it comes to Gaza means?
I have no clue.
I think we need to have the Luigi mindset when it comes to Puerto Ricans.
Yeah, Julian, don't come in here and lecture anybody. You literally support someone that murdered somebody in the streets. So until you can justify your belief with regards to Mangione, everything you say to me is illegitimate. And I don't respect you. I hate to break that to you, young man, but I do not respect you.
Could you be a little less sort of confrontational, less judgmental? Oh, Norm, by the way, you live in New York, right?
Yeah, much of the time, some of the time.
So, like, aren't you very concerned with that Mohammed Mondani person?
Yeah.
Because to me, it looks like he will turn New York the way that Pakistani Sadiq Khan turned London into a caliphate. And this Mondani person is a Shia, 12 Imamer. They believe
He's
this
not
type
Shia.
of Islamist.
He is Shia.
He is Shia.
He's Shiite.
Which is insane. Oh my god.
You're saying he's not a Shiite?
Shiite
Is
is
that what you're
noun,
saying,
Shia is
Julian?
an adjective.
Well, I heard multiple things around him. I heard he's like Sufi or like
He's Shia.
Shiite or whatever. But yeah.
So, Julian, just to clarify, you understand that Shia and Shiite are this thing? A Shiite is a follower of Shia Islam. The two types are not Shia and Shiite. The two types are Shia and Sunniite. I don't know if they use that term, Sunniite.
You say
Sunni and Shia. And Norm, of course, you know the difference between the Sunni and the Shia.
yes.
The Sunni have a very Sunni disposition, while the Shia are totally full of Shia.
And the Shias, well, Sunnis also waiting for them, but it's more for Shia belief system. They are waiting for this guy called Imam al-Mahdi, which they believe is this Islamic end-time savior. And these Muslims believe in order to bring the Mahdi, they need to spread global chaos. Because when there's global chaos, they believe that the Mahdi will emerge and bring and establish world peace by enforcing Sharia law. Like, this is the Iranian regime that is exporting global chaos because they believe that will usher in the end times. Julian is saying in the comments section he is a Shia Muslim and identifies with the 12th branch. Like, this is very, very concerning. This Mohammed Mondani type. Because this Shia belief system thinks in order to bring their Mahdi, their Messiah, they need to spread global chaos. That's what the Iranian regime is doing. And then Sunnis also are waiting for the Mahdi. do you support Mohammed Zoran Mamdani as New York mayor?
Well, I'm actually in New York City, and I didn't vote for him, though.
Like, would you say if he becomes mayor, that would be an improvement, or do you think New York will become the London, like Muslim mayor London type of city?
Well, I don't support his policies generally. I do think he has some unfortunate policies regarding transportation, housing, and the grocery stores. And I just generally don't support leftists like him because after seeing the destructive policies of Mayor Bloomberg, I support more people like I guess Eric Adams, but I do think that he has some good ideas such as public child care, for example, and cracking down on corporate.
When is that a mayor's job? Isn't that a municipality county having to vote for that?
I guess, but I think it's good that the mayor, potential mayor, does support no cost childcare because childcare is getting pretty expensive, and yeah, I do think that some of his labor policies are pretty decent. I mean, I just generally don't support him, but I do think he has some good policies. So I don't think it may and he was marching for the trans people during the LGBT parade, so I don't think he's
That was
gonna
Takia.
turn it.
That was full on Takia. He is spreading in the New York City mosque, spreading the Muslim interest. He's not going into the mosque and preaching things about Islam or that the Muslim community needs to be accepting of vulnerable communities. He's going into mosque preaching the Muslim interest. That's being two-faced. That's being having a double agenda. Because at one point in the mosque, he's making very sure that he will make Muslims the face of City Hall and make Muslims the face of New York City, basically prioritizing them. Like that is like incompatible with LGBT rights. Like look at wasn't there this full Muslim city council somewhere in Detroit or Michigan or Minneapolis, and then the Democratic, so a liberal or moderate, whatever, city county full of Muslims, when they took power, they targeted the LGBT community. They banned LGBT people. That was Sharia law. No, and even I know a lot of LGBT people support him, which I don't understand, because there's other options in that mayoral election too. But like some of these queers for Palestine, maybe they need to wake up by learning the hard way, by learning the hard lesson, like the people in London did. The people in London only started to open their eyes once a Pakistani radical Muslim became mayor. I'm not sure if you know the situation in London with that Muslim mayor.
Julian, what is your take on this? Is it a conspiracy theory? Is it racist? Do you think it's not going to be that bad? Do you think he's full of shit, or what is your response?
I mean, I don't think it's racist. I think it's since what we're seeing in London, I think it's fair to have reservations about a mayor giving priority to his people of his religion. So I don't think it's racist at all. I just wonder if Mamdani is a guy like that. Like I said, I don't support Mamdani's policies. I think they're generally kind of dumb. heavily Muslim. So I just hope, I guess, that he that isn't, like I forgot the London, um, whatever his name is.
Sadiq Khan.
I just hope the like, yeah, Sadiq Khan's administration in London.
Yeah, what Sadiq Khan did to London is, as a mayor, he did everything, preventing everything from the police force doing their job and making sure the streets are safe. Especially because London is a very dangerous city. A lot of stabbing and a lot of sexual violence against women, LGBT, and Jews. And I think when Mohammed Mondami becomes mayor, that will be the reality in New York City too. Because he will be pumping all the hotels full with Muslim migrants. Mondami. He has no interest in putting the interests of New Yorkers first. He made that sure when he spoke in mosques.
I just have to say, I'm in London 5 times a year, and it's a beautiful city, and it's not dangerous, and I don't notice that there's a Muslim there. I mainly feel like I'm in England. I don't feel like I'm in some kind of a Muslim environment. I don't really have any objection to Muslim people, really. But I don't
So
feel...
what part of London? Because London is truly a beautiful city.
Are you more amazing city? I like
Are you
Notting
around the
Hill.
river?
I like Notting Hill. I like City of London, and I like Shoreditch.
Chelsea?
I haven't hung out. I mean, those are where I usually stay. And I stay in the Cotswolds. I love, forget what it's called. I don't know, the nickname is Tippy. Anyway, I stay in the Cotswolds. I stay in
Shoreditch is pretty.
Shoreditch is fun.
But like, London is a huge, huge municipality city, and there are parts of London where there is really like a lot of crime, a lot of stabbing,
I guess I'm in East End. I guess
a lot
I'm
of
in East
drill
London.
rap gangs.
East End of London.
So East Ham.
I mean, to be honest, I don't really know anything what's in the four neighborhoods, although Jordan is kind of a mixed neighborhood.
Yeah, because the south of London, that's not a nice place.
Right. But it's a good city. I
And
like
the Muslim mayor, in London, he blocked as a mayor investigation into the Pakistani crony gangs because he is of Pakistani origin, and he feels like investigation on his community is racially profiling. And that exact kind of attitude is why Pakistani crony gang could go unnoticed and continue in other cities where there are Muslim mayors as well, because London is not the only Muslim mayor place.
The Liberals. Like the Labour Party constituents in the whole of the UK, those are where the big issues have been, but now it's everywhere.
Yeah, but Labour is not even a liberal party, it's
Yeah,
like
that's
social
true.
democrats, like leftists. It's like liberal in Europe usually means market liberty, individual liberty. It's more centrist, and the UK has a liberal party.
Oh yeah, no, I was speaking about it. Like what we call anti-elections. That I was just saying.
Yeah. I mean, look at Brussels. They have a socialist mayor in Brussels, in the port, like next to heard socialist utopia didn't work. Progressive utopia, like everybody living, green ecology, happiness. No, she's ruling over a place with a lot of violence against women. And is it like Mondani wants to like stop violence, like he wants to like stop funding into like investigation on violence and getting households or something like that? Which sounds also like Sharia law.
Is that true? He wants to stop investigating domestic violence.
Yeah, I read something like that about domestic violence at home. That he doesn't want to like.
He's like, we're focusing too much on that. This we need to let people do what they want to do.
During the BLM riots and aftermath, he said that police and I guess other law enforcement should be the ones who respond to like domestic violence calls, and that police as type of escalate those situations. So like I guess social workers should be the ones who respond to those.
So like, I hope like L or do you want Cuomo or do you want Adam Mayer? I'm cool with Adams. I voted for him before I voted for him. Because isn't he the one that moved the hotels with the migrants?
Then he changed it. Then he pushed back against it.
Who would be better for Patricia? Cuomo or Adams?
I think they're both a good bet. I mean, I think Cuomo has held back a little bit now. Right? Is very fast. He's not well liked. He lost in the primary. Might be able to vote for Adams. I'll vote for Adams.
Also, I have to applaud that a city like New York even has mayoral elections. Because here in my country we don't elect for mayor. Same in the UK, they don't elect their mayor. They just get appointed, put in place. That's why the UK is not everywhere because they're put in that position.
Right?
And in my country, we don't have mayor elections.
Who appointed him?
Literally, in my country, when a politician quits in parliament, they are guaranteed to have a position as a mayor somewhere in the country.
So who appointed him?
I think the king. Not sure.
What country is this?
I live in the Netherlands. But we don't like, even if you have city council elections and everybody votes, like, for example, Rotterdam had a Muslim mayor. He was actually liked very much because he spoke out against Muslim extremism. He was like first generation Rotterdam. And the first generation Muslim migrants in the Netherlands, they came to work, and then the second generation and then the third generation felt like they were not part of the country, and then they had this nostalgia about Muslim countries, and then they started to radicalize, and he spoke sort of out against Muslim radicalization. And he ruled as a mayor for like 2 terms, full terms, while the majority of the people in his city voted for the local right-wing party. So then you would think, oh, if the local right-wing party is the biggest in the municipality elections, then they deliver a mayor, but that's not the system.
Soul food at least eats greens, okay? This is from every bite being wrapped in a tortilla. I love tortillas, but you can't be wrapping all your food in it.
Respectfully,
It's not-
Miss.
it's not that-
Wait. Hold on. Respectfully, Miss Shirley, soon to be Mayhem. I listen. I feel very strongly at Soul Food is a movie that actually embodied a certain type of culture. I'm not specifically speaking to the actual food, if that makes sense.
Yes, Adam, but we served soul food just so you know, soul food was served at the table I was raised on, and my family wasn't overweight.
Mine too, and my family was definitely not overweight. You know, it's one of those things, moderation. You know, have you ever heard of the turkey trot?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like a 5K run. My dad and I used to do that before Thanksgiving dinner. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, people don't have a healthy attitude towards fitness in a way that is acceptable in light of the expenditures that America is spending on fatness.
Adam, I'm gonna, my comment to this is, back when I ate soul food, once a week I had fried chicken, chicken fried steak. These were regulars. There was a potato on the table every day, whether it was mashed or fried. But here's the deal. Now, people are eating food with preservatives, and I solely and absolutely believe that the chemicals, the natural flavors, they're not telling you what they are, that is behind most obesity in this country. And it used to, when I was in high school, there were 2 girls in the school that were overweight, and they were eating Doritos, and the rest of us were eating that soul food, but we were not eating preservatives. I'm convinced that that's a major part. It's not just soul food.
Yeah, so I'm refusing to believe that, and this is what I'm saying, Shirley. It's kind of one of those things where people have access to the same inventory and the same food source. And these same people, based on different activities, are not necessarily burdened in the same way of having effective overweight. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's one of those things, like, I grew up in a house where, like, my sister's overweight. Like, very much so overweight. We grew up eating the same damn food.
Well, to your point, I was at the table and I didn't eat the biscuits and my brothers ate the biscuits. Okay. I got you.
Hey, for the record, Shirley, I would eat your biscuit.
Oh, honey. That's why you're one of my favorites, because you talk sassy to me. Just saying. It's kind of fun when you're like the grandmother and somebody treats you like you might be attractive. I mic up on that.
Oh, Miss Shirley, you're gonna have some competition. Monica just entered the room.
Listen, my husband's gonna live to be 100, and Mojo needs a wife. But I adore him.
Yeah, well, welcome to the room, Monica. The most attractive, the most intelligent, the kindest, the classiest woman on all of Clubhouse. Welcome to the room, Monica.
Hey, I have a quick question because I remember me and Adams did a similar room like this a couple months ago. So apparently, I guess that room's known for its degeneracy, right? So I'm trying to understand what that room, especially with what went down last night. I guess I don't know if there was other things that went on, but where do cats get off in thinking that it's okay that it's okay for an individual or multiple individuals to threaten sexual violence towards another person's family member? And then at the same time, that same individual threatens to do bodily harm with them. And then that person that retaliates that way is somehow, right, the bad guy. I'm trying to understand in what world is that fucking acceptable? But that shit goes on.
Can you give us a more specific example?
So basically, what I'm saying is that last night there's this cat in there, and there's multiple cats that do this shit. So I go up in there and just have conversations, or at least try to. So you know, when I was up in there was a guy named Jacobus, and this same individual said he was going to come on my mother or something like that, or do some, you know, basically threaten sexual assault. And I said, listen, if you pull something like that, you're gonna get your head blown off, right? And then, you know, all other people up in the room found what I said to be appalling, but don't find what he says to be appalling in that same back and forth. The thing is that, like, you know, these people, I don't understand like where their mindset is at. But
they're probably Muslims. Go ahead.
Well, could be, but I just know that that's what goes on in that fucking room, right? Shit like that goes on in that room constantly. And for whatever reason, the mods, they listen to the shit, but then think that when I say this shit, or if someone else, you know, hears something like that is said to them, and they say the same shit, they attack those particular people, but don't get on the people that say that kind of shit.
Yeah, this happens more than Tiger, who threatened to rape Kelly, and then when we would bring him to the stage, he would double down and acknowledge that yes, he said that, and that he still feels that way. So there's definitely a desire amongst some of these people. They're very rapey. The question is why do the mods condone rape? But then if you say that you're going to do something to the rapist, then all of a sudden that's where they draw the line. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, I know, and it's funny because I saw this room title because I was already thinking about doing a room like that to ask, you know, why does chillism condone sexually degenerate behavior like that? And I'm not even talking about being a homosexual or anything like that, but just that kind of behavior, and of course, amongst other things that you guys are speaking on in this room, like that room is just, I don't know, man. It's a lot of weird shit, and I don't understand with Nathan, like how he doesn't understand how detrimental that could be to him and to people up in that room. You know what I'm saying? Because things can get real, you know, over a fucking audio app or the internet in general. I'm not saying that I'm going to actually go up and do something, but I'm just saying shit like that is the reason why there's problems in this country, because of stupid shit like that.
Yeah, well, stuff can transfer from the app off the app, and the people that are creating an environment for that, I think that they want that. I think that might even be their goal. Why else would it be that in those rooms they would allow, like, they'll allow people to shout the N-word over and over and over again, and that's a word that can trigger some people to pull up. And for them to allow that, they do have rules. It's funny. You can't call somebody a bitch in that room, but you can call them the N-word. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, if you can't call a woman a bitch unless you're another woman or a homosexual. But if you're a heterosexual man, you can't. Yeah, I heard about that.
I think the dumbest rule. I think the strangest thing, though, is their tolerance for allowing people to speak over each other. I mean, you can't even have a conversation, and then for somebody like John here that streams this stuff to a much larger audience on a much bigger app, it becomes a wall of sound, and nobody can hear the conversation. And so I think a moderator should have a duty to make sure that people talking over each other is minimized.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, definitely. I mean, that is definitely something that, you know, like when you're having a constructive conversation, people are speaking over each other, definitely, you know. And my thing is, if that happens, then, you know, if that's an issue, then that's one thing. You know, I mean, if you have those kind of issues, those things can be ironed out. But, you know, just, I mean, the high levels of degeneracy, like on that level, you know, I don't know. I mean, I think that some of these people up in that room are kind of mentally ill, you know what I'm saying? Because ultimately it just, you know, like you don't, like, I mean, my thing is, you want to have a one-on-one with that individual, that's one thing, but if you sit up here and try to threaten pretty much sexual assault on somebody, a family member, like that's crossing the fucking line that you're not supposed to cross, man. But I guess, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's the audio app, you know, but I don't know. I just find that to be ironic. And I find it ironic that this room is made because I guess there's some other shit going on in that room that other people are starting to observe. So, yeah, just had to say that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk to Monica. Well, what do you got to say, Queen?
I think that the house rules of Clubhouse White Belt chillism are unique. There's very few houses that I know of have at least a few rules that may mostly consistent across whoever mods those spaces too. And the joke about men not being allowed to call women bitches unless they're homosexuals. It's because men default to the word bitch for women so often that it's like a cognitive dissonance IQ test to see what other names they can call women aside from bitch. And then they get gooed for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then they get brought back up.
So, Monica, let me ask you this. Why do they allow people to call people the N-word or the K-word?
Right, it's decent. Well, the theory is it's a mostly free-ish speech space, and Nathan and Knowledge allow it, and then so then you get to choose, right? Can you tolerate naughty words being spoken, or you can't? And if you can't, you can leave quietly. I actually think there are worse things than calling women bitches and cunts. I think threatening to dox people on the app, that's a shitty thing to do. I think threats of violence that I hear very often from the man who's allowed in chillism and white belts, who has a lot to criticize about white belts and chillism just now, that's a lot. But, you know, to each his own.
Yeah. Well, what about the lack of moderation when you have the stupidest people on the app that go into a 45-minute debate about Hegel, for example, and neither of them have even read Hegel. Like guys like Concrete and Ike that don't read source material hold a debate. Basically, they're speaking like 10-year-old kids, and the moderators just sit back and allow this sound wall to take place with no moderation whatsoever. And then when somebody with, you know, an ounce of common sense gets on the stage to expose that neither of them, and they both admitted this, by the way, that neither of them have ever read Hegel. Yet they decided to have a 45-minute debate. Why would anybody want to moderate something like that and allow people that have never read the source material to just go off for 45 minutes? Why would that happen?
Because they have the power to do so. It's white belts and chillism. Just like you have the power to mod this room as you wish, you're the king of your castle in the muff, and
well, you're the queen, respectfully.
Not really, but we did have a conversation about. Okay, so people who create rooms get control of the rooms, and it's interesting to me how many people have a problem with the room when they have so much power themselves. They can object to the room, they can throw a temper tantrum in the chat, and you know as well as I do, they've got some chat warriors in here or are thumb and finger fussing all over your rooms, and then they can leave quietly. I don't think, based on all the rooms I've ever been in, that chillism white belt is the most egregious when it comes to the crap that gets thrown on Clubhouse. It's an audio app. People have been very cruel on this audio app.
So Monica, let me ask you this: if you were queen for a day and you were to moderate a space and there's people of diverse backgrounds, like, what would your rule be about if somebody repeatedly, not just squeezing it in poetically, but repeatedly using the N-word and directing it towards people that are in the room? How would you feel about that?
Oh, if I create the room, Roger, it doesn't happen because
amazing.
as you called me quite correctly on it, what is it? What did Roland Fryer say? I have a talent for encouraging civil discussion. And if I don't get the civil discussion, like Andrew and that other guy tried to troll my room about the crime of being white, I enforce my rules. And so, it's the room creator, I think, that has control over the quality of the room.
Sure. And so in a room where you're critiquing the moderation of another room, do you think it's fair for me to critique people that would allow people on the stage that literally just interrupt people by calling them the N-word? Do you think that the quote unquote defenders of free speech over there are in the right, or do you think that I might have a point that's pretty irresponsible?
I don't. The code of conduct in white belts and chillism is we don't allow doxing or credible threats of violence. So,
but what about calling someone the N-word? You realize that could lead to real world violence, correct?
I've been called the N-word in white belts and chillism.
But you think that if you had the ability to amend their rules, would you, like for example, nobody can say that word in here. If they do, they get removed immediately. And matter of fact, no matter who does it. In fact, even people that that
have
claim,
the pass.
Even people that claim that I've taken this word back. Like we have a zero tolerance policy on people saying it, whether it's in the chat or whether it's okay. And so I'm asking you, if you had your preference, would you rather be in a room where that kind of language is not allowed, or where that kind of language is allowed?
When I have my rooms that I have control over, I don't allow it.
And do you prefer to be in rooms where it's allowed or disallowed?
Well, so you remember Lenny Bruce? Didn't we have this discussion before with about Lenny Bruce?
I like Lenny Bruce, and I like the fact.
You know where I'm going with that.
I like the fact that you can push the envelopes of free speech. I think I do it as much as anybody on this app.
I think that's fair.
That being said, even me, who believes I'm not a free speech absolutist, because I do believe that there's slander and defamation and things that can take place. There's also a concept of fighting words. I would say that especially somebody like myself that grew up in an area that had many black people, I know that saying that word is a fighting word. Because where I come from, if people are saying it, especially if they're saying it to people they don't know, that's not just going to be a fight. That is going to be an ass whooping. And so it's either people that have never been in a fist fight that don't understand real world consequences for these types of things, or it's people that do and they want the violence. And so I guess my question again would be, in particular to that word, do you think it would be a good idea to just set a rule that we're not going to say that?
Roger, I'm still puzzled by this conversation, and I'm not being facetious or sarcastic or anything. I promise you. Like, how can I control the ugliness?
I'm not asking you to control it. I'm asking you to control yourself. You have freedom of association, and there are rooms on this app where people are allowed to say it, and rooms on this app where people are not allowed to say that. My question is, why did you choose to associate with the people that freely let that word roll across their tongue?
Because I don't think saying a word is worse than being a rapist. I don't think saying a word
I'll grant you
is
that.
worse than being a pedophile. I don't believe a word is worse than human trafficking on Craigslist. I don't believe a word.
No disagreement there. There are worse things. There are worse things than saying those words. That being said, it's a social audio app, and the likelihood of somebody getting raped on the stage is actually on the stage. It's impossible. The likelihood of people saying something that could lead to real world violence, that's highly more likely. And when you start looking at, like, if I were to make a list of 10 things that people could say that would cause real world violence, I would just say that on my list, that word would be included in the top 10 things that would be most likely to lead to real world violence. Is that wrong? Do you disagree with that?
I just have trouble believing that words are violence. Words can be ugly.
I don't believe words are violence. I'm actually critical of people that make that comment. What I would say though is that there are words that can lead to violence, but more importantly, if you're trying to send an invite out to the world to say, hey, here's a place where people can get together, freely express their differences, and talk about their ideas, wouldn't it be a good idea to make sure that you don't turn people off right at the get-go by allowing the type of language that derails a conversation? And that would be one of the terms that I think does precisely that.
Which is why you're clever enough not to have it allowed in your rooms. Good talk.
Amazing. Okay. All right, Monica. Well, thanks for
disappointing you.
Well,
I know.
Well, listen. As JB would say, you're standing on your square. So there's that.
Yeah, disappointed that you did that too. All right, have a great rest.
Wait, Monica, let me ask you a question. I mean, Roger's asking you some pretty simple questions that could just be answered with a simple yes or no. Like, okay, never mind.
Lordness, you're one of the other anarchists on the stage. What do you say?
So what happened with the situation first?
Which situation are you talking about?
With the title and all that, I'm confused what happened with the situation.
Well, which situation? Oh, that's...
No, I mean, there's a bunch of situations that happen, so I'm a little bit confused on what's the situation for this room.
Yeah. So the situation for this room was I created a room with this title, largely in response to the stupidity that happens in that other room. We could talk about the 45-minute debate about Hegel between two people that had never read Hegel. That was pretty idiotic. We could talk about the fact that there's no moderation, that people are allowed to talk over each other, which makes it very difficult to hold a conversation. We could talk about Bima threatening to dox people. That was an interesting development. Or we could talk about a debate between people on Israel versus Hamas, and the moderator of the room put a poll up because he wanted support, and he lost the debate in his own room by 2/3 of a vote. It's just a collection of the dumbest people on the app, and then a sprinkling of very intelligent people, like Io, for example, will go in there. When Io goes in there, the average IQ jumps a couple points. Yeah, what's your defense of the room?
I mean, I view it more like a. Do you know Jerry Springer?
No, never heard of her.
No, that show. Jerry's show.
You mean the mayor of Cincinnati?
No. Fuck, I forgot the name of the fucking show. It's that guy, that old guy that just. He's like that main guy, he just has a bunch of people join up on the stage and just start talking shit, doing all the insane...
Oh yeah, Geraldo Rivera. Yeah.
I don't think it's not look either way. The point is, look, I am a free speech absolutist, even
what does that mean to you?
There's really no boundaries of what you could say and do.
Could you threaten someone?
You could, but the other person could do something back against it.
So, are you aware that there's laws against threatening people with violence?
Yes, I know.
Okay, so you can't exactly say anything you want to say, right?
Correct.
But you just said that you could.
I didn't say I could. I said I'm for it.
Oh, so you think we should change the laws and allow people to say whatever they want?
Correct.
What do you think of defamation laws?
I don't know anything about it to really know, but just have an opinion on it.
So if I made a claim about you that wasn't true, and people believed it, and it harmed you in a let's say in a monetary fashion, let's say you lost endorsements, contracts, not that you would ever have these, but let's just say you did. You think people should be able to make up lies about people?
I mean, if they have any proof if they don't have any proof at the end of the day, then they're going to lose it.
No, can we go back? Can we go back to this talk show host? Tell me more about him.
I mean, it's like an old show. I don't know. It's just like a really old show that this guy invites a bunch of random people. It's like an era mixed with this other guy. Like it's a very chaotic show.
And it was called.
Let me look at it again.
That's amazing.
Jerry Springer.
Yeah. Wasn't he the mayor of Cincinnati?
I don't know. I don't know if who he is exactly or anything like that. All I know is this is a very chaotic, insane show.
Lord,
I mean, it was pretty.
Lord Nas, I don't know if you're aware of this, but he's Mojo knows who Jerry Springer is, dude. Can you not pick up on that?
I mean, you're expecting me to believe Mojo if I don't know him, so.
Lourdes, let me ask you this. Do you spend much time in chillism?
Here and there. I'm usually just listening in.
Would you call yourself a regular there?
Not on the stage.
What do you prefer, chillism or this Jerry Springer fellow?
Chillism. I mean, plus Jerry Springer. I mean, like, they stopped airing.
If it was still on the air, would you watch it regularly?
No.
Would you identify yourself as an anarchist?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Absolute freedom.
Absolute freedom. Oh, okay. So let's say in an anarchist society, let's say if we were to transition to that tomorrow, if somebody was murdered, who do you call in the case of a murder?
Nobody. You deal with it yourself.
So somebody gets murdered and you call no one?
No, you don't.
So how does the murderer get caught?
They don't.
So you're free to murder people?
I mean, you're free to do a lot of things. You're free to buy any forms of weapons. You're able to create your own form of technology. Corporations are able to control land territory. It's a free-for-all. You're able to do whatever you want without any forms of restriction and regulations.
Including killing people?
Again, it's the ideology world of literal free-for-all. Do whatever you want to do. Live the life that you want to live. Now,
Okay, all right, so hold on. I wanna let's try to make this real. Let's say you have a loved one. I don't want to say mom, dad, sister, brother, whatever, but you picture the loved one, and let's say something terrible happened to them and they were assaulted. What is the recourse when that happens?
I mean, I could probably go do something about it. If there's any forms of evidence I could find on the corpse.
What if you weren't there and you don't know who did it? Wouldn't it be nice to call someone that can investigate such a crime?
And let them do all the work. No, I'd rather go find the person myself.
So you're an investigator now?
No, I'm just saying I'd rather do whatever it takes to find the person that fucked up one of my family members or friends or whoever I know.
You don't think it'd be wise to outsource this to somebody that's good at investigating? Maybe.
In this society, you can pay people to do it.
Let me ask you this. The transition from a constitutional republic to anarchy, how do you see that going down? How does that transition happen?
There's only two ways of going about this, either through a civil war, which is highly doubtful because either way it's gonna be a two-sided civil war, or a World War III mixed with Civil War.
Okay, so the only way to get to your preferred system of governance would be through a world war, a civil war, or a combination of the two.
Correct.
And this is your preference.
I mean, look, in the beginning it's gonna be bad and all that, but hey, in the future it's perfect.
It's perfect, but you can't call someone to help you find a murderer?
Repeat what you said.
You said you wouldn't be able to call anybody to help you find the murderer. How would that be better?
No, because then you could hire people to go find them, or you could do a lot more. I mean, you could do it yourself. You can hack into security
Lord
cameras.
Nas,
You could do a lot
Lord
more.
Nas, can I ask you a question? I just want to know what, I like the expression, there's not a speck of dust out of place in the whole universe, implying that everything is perfect just the way it is. What makes you think that you're 100% sure that, your better option is truly like just not ridiculous? Because if everything is already perfect, why do you think your new, your ideas are better than what's already happening?
Because people still have problems with your ideas or belief system. And if, let's say, people chose to leave this country, right, where would they go specifically, right? We don't have the technology for space travel, so we're not able to go to other planets to create this type of ideology yet. There's not really any islands that are the size of Russia, China. Not really. So there isn't really any other territory or land that anyone could create their other ideologies.
Wait, can you hold on one? Can you hold on one second? I want to do another quick diagnostic here. I like to do this in a lot of Mojo's rooms. What is 100 times 1,000, Lord Nas? Again, the question is, what is 100 times 1,000? Thank you.
If you need to take time to go get a calculator, that's fair.
So again, the question, Lord Nas, is what is 100 times 1,000? Can you give us that mental calculation if you can? 100 times 1,000. Can you do that in your head? Because anyways, can you do that, Lord Nas? Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, what's 100 times 1,000?
All right, what's up the echo?
What'd you say?
You got an echo?
Okay, so, I like to point out to people on Clown House that if you've never realized, what a fishing net is, and what a fisherman is, and what fish are, and what a spider is, and what a spider web is, and what a fly is, you have to figure out sooner or later who you are, where you are on this food chain cycle, and why you're on this app having endless conversations with people, who can't even tell you what 100 times 1,000 is. It's just a quick diagnostic.
But what's up with the echo? Good job.
Are you echoing over there? I'm sorry, I'm not echoing over here.
No, I'm just confused. What was up with the echo? Sound like two phones.
Lordness, have you seen the movie The Purge?
Yeah.
So what do you think of that movie? I mean, it's one of my favorites. I do enjoy the franchise, but it is a little frightening. So what if our government decided to sanction something similar, where there's a period of, once a year, all criminal activity, including murder, robbery, et cetera, kidnapping and rape were legal? I mean, that's your ideal future, or would you be down
It's
with
not
that?
going to be like that. I mean, in the beginning, the very, very beginning, it's going to be like that. But over time, people are not going to be killing each other nonstop every fucking day or second, all that. Now, you're going to have disputes. You're going to have problems on land or territory. Different ideologies having conflicts amongst other ideologies. Obviously, that's going to happen. But in the very beginning of this ideology, yes, it's going to be like the purge. But over time, it's not going to be like that.
Well, why are you so convinced that the murder? I mean, this is a nation of wildlings, right? Why are you convinced? Why do you think that over time the murders would quell? If in the beginning folks could get away with robbery, murder, rape, kidnapping kids, etc., and there's no one to check them, no law and order, just a chaotic free for all, why would they stop?
I mean, well, then with that hypothetical, then I mean, I guess it would be like a band of cannibals. Then I mean, at that point, yeah, those people wouldn't really stop at all. But
Lord Nas,
wait,
was the French Revolution anarchy in action? Do you think the French Revolution was anarchy in action? What do you think?
Wait, let me answer NY's question first. So I mean, there could be some people that could stop, let's say, like a band of cannibals. It could be. Either if they really want to do something about it, or they're paid to do it.
I don't know if you saw the series The Purge, but there's the Purge bus, the blue bus. There's a church a couple blocks away from me. They have about a dozen blue buses. I call them the Purge buses. I'm convinced that the Purge, ground zero of the Purge, is going to start at this church because of the blue Purge buses. So I'll keep you notified in case we need a hero to swoop in and kind of save this community first.
All right.
We got a new poll
John,
up.
what's your...
Lordness, we got a new poll up. You might like one of the choices.
Which is what?
Look at the poll up above.
There's no poll.
Oh, you haven't updated the app then.
Let me do that right now.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, this was Exhibit A of Chillism Regulars.
So I was in Chillism earlier. Go ahead.
May I ask a question? I know I will regret it because...
Paula, you may ask a question. Go ahead.
Lourdes, are you basing your thoughts on Mikhail Bakunin, or is that something that you concocted yourself?
He's downloading the app.
All right. This is new. All right, let's see.
So before he answers that and answers the survey question, Mojo, I announced to the Chillism Room earlier today that tomorrow we will be live streaming them and providing, live play-by-play feedback and doing analysis of them live. So I'm hoping that by trying to organize the community organizers, we'll actually get them to stand at attention and do some, maybe thought-provoking conversations. They'll be more academic, they'll be more professional. And so I hope, our Anon surveillance program will actually bring some personal responsibilities to these rooms. Not only chillism, but also politically correct. So, thank you.
Well, those are not the only ones. I think healthy debates needs some monitoring. And if others want to monitor this room, that would be fine. But I think that this Anon surveillance style that we're going to aim for is going to allow us to take the best and worst of Clubhouse, play the clips here live, and then have a discussion about what they're talking about. I think moving forward, tomorrow we have a brand new, brave new world of Clubhouse. It'll be a new style of content, and I hope everybody's here to enjoy it. Thank you.
Can also add with that too. I mean, it's good in a way of getting people to share their viewpoints instead of hiding in echo chambers and enclosed.
Could you please answer my question now? I mean, do you know?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah. I wasn't here. I was updating the app. So go ahead.
Yeah. Well, do you know who is Mikhail Bakunin? No? And
No.
you base your thoughts. Okay.
No, he's never read Proudhon. He's never read Bakunin. He's never read Spooner. He's never read Murray Rothbard. He's never read any of these things.
I want to put my ideology in the chat.
So I mean, how do you base your anarchism on if you haven't read any of this stuff? I mean, this is my question.
All right, so I asked ChatGPT what would be a specific ideology name for all of the things I've listed in a list of what I look for in a specific ideology. And it gave me the name that I already put in the chat.
What you're saying is absolutely nothing. I mean, it's not the theory that Bakunin proposed for anarchy, which was basically written at the same time as Marx and Engels when they wrote to the Capital and the Manifesto. I hope you know who Marx and Engels are, or not. I'm asking.
No.
No. Okay, perfect. I rest my case, Mojo. I think
Thank you for bringing clarity to this. But no, I think you get it. But you have to understand, right? Like Lordness he's not even the worst of these offenders. Like, at least he's standing up here and saying, hey, this is what I believe. It's not based on anything he's ever read, but we shouldn't be surprised about this because the people in Chillism, they literally have debates and claim to be experts on things they've never read. I don't know if you've heard me talk about Ike and Concrete that had a 45-minute debate about Hegel. Come to find out neither of them had ever read Hegel. And then when they got drugged for that, their response to that is that you can be an expert in a subject without reading it. You just need third-party information. That was their claim.
So talking about the ethical state of Hegel, it's like, probably it's something nobody in Chillism have any idea of. Am I correct?
Well, I don't think it's fair to say nobody because what's interesting is there is a mix of, for example, Eric, I don't know if you know Io, I would argue is probably the highest IQ person on the entire app. If there's somebody with higher IQ, I just haven't bumped into him. The guy is like literally a fucking genius. And he goes in there, my guess is to just see how far society has collapsed. That would be my guess of why he goes in there. So there are some intelligent people that pop up in there. My queen, Monica, she goes in there. And then Brad goes in there and yells at people sometimes. I think Adams has even gone in there to yell at them from time to time. But this is, look, I've never claimed that we have the smartest people on the app in here, and certainly we don't have the smartest people in society in this room. That is never going to be my claim. We have what we have, right? For fuck's sake, we have Brent on the stage, right? For what it's worth. But what I will say is that they have found it's like the Pied Piper. They are leading all of the dumbest people to that room. Doesn't mean that the whole room is dumb. It just means that the dumbest people on the app will find their way to that room. It's very amazing.
See, Pied Piper is exactly that's the mind virus. And let's say, their show was put on Netflix. It would create a mind virus and they would be the cause celebre. They would be you see how communication works? And the irony is they would be celebrated and compensated for being stupid. That's the Pied Piper. I mean, that is the downfall. It's the blind leading the blind.
Yeah, Lordness, are you shocked that in this poll with 16 responses that you're the only one that would choose anarchy over authoritarianism, constitutional monarchy, or representative democracy? Are you surprised at that?
No, I'm hopping a little up on this.
Yeah, and are you surprised that authoritarianism has twice the amount of votes as anarchy?
Not really. I mean, either way, it's not a big deal to me.
Can you go back to explain? Because there's some new people here. Can you go back to the part where you were saying that if somebody murdered somebody, that would be that there's nobody for you to call and nothing can be done?
I mean, the ideology of the system, it's absolute free-for-all. You're able to do whatever you want with how it comes to restriction or regulation.
realize that's not what a single philosopher of anarchy believes. Not the
current type.
Well, the anarcho-communists, the anarcho-capitalists, none of them believe what you're saying. My question is, where did your ideology come from? What was your influence?
Thinking about a specific ideology that would solve every form of group and individuals' problems.
You're selling ancient coins?
I mean, just to go back to what Roger said, I mean, anarchy as a political philosophy, what you're talking about is a destruction of hierarchical structure, destruction of the state structure, but what they still believe in is local control, associations, etc. Like, there is nowhere in historical anarchy that you would have had what you're talking about.
Let's see the most expensive one.
Obviously, because it hasn't happened yet.
Who is this? 1 rupee India. How much?
But nobody thought that should be what occurs. Just pure obvious state of nature where it's a free for all and you can just murder anybody. Like nobody thinks.
Okay.
Like nobody conceptually thought, hey, that's what we should go for. It was more we don't think about centralized state control. We think it should be controlled on the local level through voluntary association. I mean, it's a weakness. Like how it would actually work, the intellectual structure was there. That's always been a problem with anarchism, but nobody thought what you're saying besides you.
I mean, that's fine. I'm not trying to be like everyone else, just be a follower and shit. I don't know, with your ideals, from what I'm getting from you, it sounds like a Star Trek hypothetical ideology, which honestly is unrealistic in comparison to what I'm saying, from my perspective.
Can I?
I mean, each his own, and people can call what they believe is political philosophy, whatever they want to call it. I'm just pointing out that what you're saying is anarchy. It has no real connection to the historical kind of intellectual strengths of the anarchist movement.
So, I mean, is this just a Lord knows? Is this just a book club? Honestly, is life best lived if it's lived as a book club? So, can I just ask the room a question? Can everybody maybe just say their favorite book? If we could go around and just everybody say, "This is my favorite book."
I'll start. My favorite book, it's a simple one. It's called The Four Agreements. It's a good book. It's a short read, and I think if people read it and tried their best to live by it, the world would be a better place. Next.
I'll go next. My favorite book is The Biggest